I just wanted to ask, do you guys think that we'll ever have any sort of reasonable gun control measures enacted within this Congress, or do we just have to wait, or will it take like a massive public outrage? And do you actually see that happening anytime soon?
I'm more optimistic than I say a lot of other Democrats out there, just because I think if the bill comes up a second time, I don't see people like Kelly Ayotte voting against it. I don't see a lot of Democrats voting against it either. And I think now that we know that Max Baucus is not running for re-election, I would find it hard to see Max vote against it, knowing that he's not up for re-election, and knowing that he has a pass to that extent, to some extent.
Pat Toomey has said on Fox News that he does plan on bringing up the bill again.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the optimistic route and assume that the next time this bill comes up, that it's actually going to pass simply because of the blatant public outrage. There comes a point where even with the influences of money and politics, the outcries of the people can make a difference. But I think in the future, if we want to pass further legislation for gun laws, gun control, that we need to get money and the influences of the NRA out of politics, and we need to pull the Democratic Party back further towards the left where it belongs, and really make a concerted effort into making the Democratic Party the way it's supposed to be, and and make it so that our politicians are actually working for the people, working for us, instead of working for the corporations that keep filling their pockets.
All right. With that, I think I'd like to start some final thoughts. Anyway, let's start with Richard. Let's get your final thoughts on this.
I think we can see true and real lasting gun reform. What it's going to require is, on a lot of these issues, what it's going to require is for us to demand more from our members of Congress, and we've got to turn our anger that we have now as progressives into activism, and don't fall asleep on that anger. Like, let's get out there, let's pound the pavement, let's go to people's, let's be talking to our members of Congress, talking to our friends, our relatives, our associates, and our neighbors about the bill and about what it does and about what it means and about how they can be active in the process. Like, that's just how we're going to change this country, whether it's on gun control or immigration or student loan debt crisis. It's going to require us having conversations with those people that are around us, and then all of us working together to create true and real lasting reform.
All right. Excellent. From a grassroots approach. Daniel, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, I agree with Fowler completely. I personally believe that the NRA is pretty much a wing of the Republican Party. That the NRA also has to take a moderate stance, just like the Republican Party needs to take a moderate stance. It just seems to me that even the arms manufacturers logically stand to make more of a profit off of legal retail sale as opposed to used sale of weapons for which the manufacturers don't make any money from. It feels like the NRA is being used to pretty much rally the Republican base, where the Republican Party cannot even rally its own base. Even the NRA appeals to people such as the Tea Party, the Libertarian Movement, and many other factions within the Republican Party. So it does feel like it's being used as a wing of the Republican Party.
I just want to reinforce Richard's point in that we definitely need to take the progressive movement to the activism point. I feel like our generation is waking up. I don't know if that's just me, and kind of based on what I've gone through and now what I'm perceiving of other people, but it seems like people around our age are really starting to become aware of what's going on in the world and what's happening around them, and I hope that it's true. And we need to really take a stand. Indifference will not do. I keep saying that indifference is the most dangerous thing in the world because it feeds evil deeds, and the people who commit evil are allowed to persist because of people who do nothing. So we need to be as loud and obnoxious about our stance on gun control and gun safety that so-called gun nuts are about their supposed gun rights and insistence that we can't do anything to restrict the Second Amendment at all. So those are my final thoughts. We need to be as loud as they are and stand up for what we believe in.
For my final thoughts, really to me the death of the gun bill shows that there's a huge disconnect between our politicians and the people. It's almost unfathomable that a bill that could garner 90% support from the American people could not pass. The fear that the NRA gives these politicians, not to mention the money, should be a red flag to everyone, to all Americans, and it really shows the grip that the special interests have on our Congress. In a time where congressional races are all about the money, I don't think, I'm less optimistic than the panel, that anything will get done in the meantime. However, I do have hope that eventually things will change. Like I had mentioned before, Pat Toomey plans on bringing up the bill again, as he had said on Fox News. And of course, you had the recent drop in popularity for many of the congressmen, the scathing words of shooting survivor Gabby Giffords, and the constant reminders in the media of our problem of gun violence. It's my hope that one day we'll have common sense gun control measures that protect both our cherished right in the Second Amendment to bear arms and also will lower instances of our gun control. Or, I'm sorry, of gun violence. And those are my final thoughts.